It's funny how powerful the arts can be without you realizing it. I know a good friend of mine and I were talking the other day about when you have to write a song for a deadline or write something for a deadline. Sometimes it's a lot easier to write when you create a deadline for yourself. And even if you sit down, so the idea being if you sit down with an empty sheet of paper and you say, I'm going to write something, it's funny, you end up having a point of view. And I think art allows us to look inside where you might think there isn't anything necessarily. And if you ask yourself to think about it, stuff just comes out. And particularly with this bus, if you give yourself all the physical help that they have here to help you realize whatever it is you think you might have to say, the more you sit here and wait for it, the more you ask of yourself, the more likely you are to find that you really do have something to say. Creativity has so many, the word creativity has kind of been co-opted in a way by really visible arts or visible disciplines like directing and acting and designing and writing. But a lot of times stuff you might think of as essentially technical is rooted in the creative arts. So don't stop yourself if you have an ability at something you think is technical. Just don't call it technical. Just free yourself of that stuff, because creation is to be found everywhere. I think the ultimate learning environment for me is Socratic, where you have an idea and you ask a question, and somebody else responds to that idea with another question, and it allows you to go beyond what would normally be your own boundaries. So an ideal learning experience for me is a dialogue. And this environment is the kind of place where you can create a dialogue with people that you've just met and create a dialogue with people that are across the country. And as far as a learning tool for the people that are participating, never mind the people that are watching, I think the dialogues that this bus is set up to create is a perfect environment for learning. You know, I used to think that teachers taught you things, and then I had one teacher who taught me to love learning. You know, I used to think you go into a classroom and they feed you a bunch of stuff and you absorb as much as you can and you regurgitate it in order to get a mark. But this one teacher turned me on to sort of open the doors to, as it happened, poetry and English, which I'd always had kind of a feeling for, but I didn't understand what a great big world it was. And without that teacher inviting me into that huge world of poetry, which was full of rage and passion and confrontation, I wouldn't have had an outlet for all the stuff that I was feeling as a kid. So I think the great teachers teach you to love learning, invite you to love learning. Take the opportunity to give and take the opportunity to learn. Take the opportunity to receive. Listen. Listen. Listen to what other kids have to say. And you don't have to work hard to you don't have to sort of wait for it to come around to you thinking, oh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Just listen. Because the more you listen, chances are the more you'll have to say.